Okay, we can now move on to the agenda, and board members, if you will look at your modification page, we have one ordinance that is a request by the applicant for a deferral until March 1st, and this has to do with the Herrick Heights rezoning. There's a motion and a second to defer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, saying nay. The ordinance will be deferred until March 1st. Let me call on Director Doris Wright at this point in time. Doris, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I've distributed to my colleagues a resolution that I've had the city attorney draw up, and this resolution states that is to declare a 12-month moratorium on multifamily developments along Bowman Road in order to determine traffic patterns and the impact on existing neighborhoods of the current multifamily developments, and to consider whether multifamily should be a part of the land use plan on this road and for other purposes. And as my colleagues know, this came about because of the application that has since been deferred, and there has been a lot of confusion. I've gone to, I think it was last Thursday, it was a 4-hour meeting, and it was apparent from that 4-hour meeting that those residents had no idea of what was happening, and that their POAs had meetings and they were not aware of the meetings. So I'm asking you all to allow us time to look at this area to see what the impact is going to be, because we have 2 huge developments under construction right now, and Bowman Road is mainly unimproved, and it needs additional work, and no money has been allocated for that. And what this moratorium would do is allow staff time to look at the intersections of 36th Street and Bowman, 36th Street in Shackelford, and Canis and Bowman, as well as the impact of the traffic patterns around the neighborhoods of Cherry Creek, Bodie Creek, and Sandpiper Creek, and to study the cut-through traffic through Bodie Creek as it impacts Woodlands Edge. I've also been made aware of some potential possible drainage issues that Sandpiper Creek might encounter due to all the clear cutting that had to take place with the current development that is that's next door to them. So I would like this item added to the agenda tonight, but if that's not possible, then I would like to add it next week. But I want you all to know that I've had a lot of dialogue with my constituents out there, and they're very concerned about this. They feel that their property values are going to be negatively impacted by all of the apartments that are going in, and I really do think that we need to have some real data instead of speculation about the impact. And unless we pull back, look at it, and take time to look at it, let the current apartments that are under construction come online and see what the additional traffic is going to be like, we won't know. All we'll have is speculation. So the city attorney told me that 6 months to a year is about as much as we can get with the moratorium legally. He feels more safe with the 1 year. But I'm asking you all to allow time for this to be studied. I appreciate your concern. So I'd like to make a motion to add this to the agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second discussion. Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mayor. My concern is that of the many, many calls that I received from the residents, I can tell you each one did not live in the area where those persons would need to be notified. So I have a problem with this, and I did share this with Director Wright. People are calling this not within the boundaries, and that's my concern.
Well, let me respond to that, Mayor. Director Hendricks, I can appreciate that. I don't know who contacted you. All I can tell you that everyone that contacted me was either a resident of Bodie Creek or Woodlands Edge.
Were they within the
Yes.
The confines are 200 to, is it 200, 250? How many feet are we
Yes,
talking about?
they are within
Okay.
those
Yeah,
confines.
well then also, again, I repeat that so many of the residents that called me and I specifically asked them, what was your address? And made them aware that they were not to be contacted, period. Thank you.
Mayor, the ordinance that the board passed, it sets forth the procedure for adding something on the night of the agenda that's not requested by the city manager. Takes 3/4 of the board. I told Director Wright earlier today that was 8 because I was going with the number 10, but it's 11 because you're part of the board. That means she has to have 9 votes, and there aren't 9 people here to vote because this is not a measure. This would be a procedural matter, and you can't vote.
Okay, with that information being shared with me, then I would like to hold this then till the agenda meeting next week, and then ask that it be added to the agenda for the
16th.
The 16th, February 16th meeting.
And Director Wright, I apologize. I was working the numbers
That's
in my
okay.
mind.
You got this done pretty quick, and I appreciate that, and I know you've got a lot to do. But this will give board members a little bit more time to study it and read it through and see what we're asking for, because at the end of the 1 year, I'm asking staff to produce a report that shares their findings with regards to the traffic patterns, the amount of traffic, what improvements they would recommend to Bowman Road and 36th Street, so that we have some hard facts, so that when we go into the last round of our bond funds, then funding can be allocated to address Bowman Road, because even now it's congested at peak times. And we definitely need to address the stacking issue at Canis and Bowman. So, thank you all.
Well, we have other people I think may wish to still comment. Director Kazort, you're recognized, please.
Mayor, thank you. And given that we're not going to discuss this tonight, I'll withhold my comments and concerns and discussion until we address this in a week.
All right. Vice Mayor Hines.
I'll do the same.
Director Adcock.
Yes. Mr. Moore, I've been out there several times this week, and on 36th Street, you have a large telephone box or something sitting right there in the middle, and that looks like an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Is that going to be moved very quickly?
Mayor.
Director, I know we have talked about that before, and I'll just have to, I'll redo the memo that talks about what we're doing there.
But when you make a left-hand turn onto 36th Street off of Bowman, you just run right into that box. Thank you.
Director Adcock, that's the box I've been talking about for several months now. That's humongous, and the developer had to widen that street and move it over, and that's where it's leaving the box like in the middle of the street. Somebody's gonna hit it, and I have not received any information back, so I'm waiting on this report from Mr. Moore as to how we're going to address this. And that's another issue. What I'm saying, we need time to look at this thing to see what it's going to cost to fix all this stuff.
We could build a roundabout around it.
Well, that was suggested by the developer, but I submitted the plans to the manager, and I never have gotten any response.
Okay, Mr. Moore's going to give us an update on it, and we'll see where we go from there. Thank you. Thank you all for that. All right, this will be on the agenda. I assume Director Wright will have this for us to put on our agenda at our agenda meeting next Tuesday for it to be debated and discussed the following Tuesday.